Darren, you said you were going to look long and hard at the footage from last weekend's game because you were clearly disappointed with the performance afterwards. Did it get any better on review?
No, it's normally not as bad. When you think you've had a bad performance, it's never normally as bad. When you watch it back and you think you've had a very good performance, it's never normally as good. But this one actually was worse than watching it live. All the things that we work on, all the things that we are about as a team, we didn't do. So I actually hope that it was that bad. It was just a one-off. It really needs to be. So, but you know, we put it to bed on Monday morning when we spoke to the players. We went through in detail as normal where we failed to deliver. So it's 1 defeat in 7. It's nothing to get too negative about or too down about, but clearly we were way below our standards, and it's important we get back to the standards that we'd set before that.
A lot of football being played, especially August, September time, and occasionally you get a correction, don't you, and something, little point in the proceedings where you have to reassess everything and just see if you're on the right track or not.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely correct, and I think it was a case of, okay, let's reset some buttons, and if we get a win Saturday and go on a good run, then we've got to use that game on the Doncaster game as a moment where we'll look back on that. I thought, yeah, that was a point where we resetted things, and that's what we've got to do. But the players know themselves that they were way off it. We tried to analyse it in the best way we can, but certain stats were way down. So we need to get back to that level, and I'm confident we will.
Presumably a game like that and a review that turns out worse than what you saw really focuses you in terms of your selection for the next game.
Yeah, well look, there was a case of so many players were below what they can do, and certainly what they'd done up to the previous 4 or 5, 6 games before that. And it's just an example of when you get a collective unit that are off it, then you're going to lose games. It's as simple as that. It really is. But again, I go back to the fact that we've lost 1 in 7. We've really dominated in terms of scoreline a lot of games. You know, we have 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 6-0. So we can't get away from that. You know, we've got to remember that, and that's also something that we have spoke about on Wednesday. We've got to remember the positives. It can't always be about the negatives. So Monday was very important to get it off our chest. Then we move ahead to the next one and start looking at what we've done well. And it's for me as a manager, you can video clips talking about it. You can really sort of see the difference between both when we do it right and when we don't. And I think that's good to show the players that.
You've had a great start in terms of your strikers this season. Ivan Toney has reaped the rewards, been at the club for a season already. Mo Issa's come in and more or less hit the ground running, but you can't over rely on them or Marcus Maddison. No,
but you can't. But you have to remember, and again, you're not the first one, and you probably won't be the last. We did have 4 clean sheets in the bounce. You know, I think it's completely been forgotten about that. And the reason these players were scoring goals was due to the good work of the back 5, the midfield players, behind the front 3. And perhaps a case on Saturday against Doncaster, we turned into a team that thought, well, the front 3 will win us a game. It's never going to work like that. 3 players don't win you the game. 1 player doesn't win you the game. The team win you the game. And we have to start getting back to that. The reason these players are scoring, in particular from counter-attacks, is the shape of the team, the discipline, the distances. So I think, although the other players have got to be thankful of the front 3 having quality, I think the front 3 have got to be thankful that they've got those players behind them.
That's right. Defence is often the best form of attack, and keeping a clean sheet and breaking off a rock-like defence helps enormously in terms of what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, listen, the stats in terms of key ones, distance running, we were down on Saturday. Clean sheets and scoring goals. I know it sounds simple, but they really are the 3 main things in terms of what I look at. Possession-wise, I think we've got to get better possession and better control of the game. But in saying that, I can see why the possession stats are down in terms of how quick we go from back to front. The players we've got in the team, Maddison always looks for that, generally 95% of the time, the killer ball, and obviously doesn't do it 95% of the time, so we give away possession. And I do feel that some games have been 3-4-0, 6-0 with 30 minutes to go, the game's over. So, but I would still like to see us improve. And every game that we play, when we look back at it, there's always areas to improve on, even in those ones where we've won convincingly. So it's just always about that. But I think Saturday's really key, that we get back to certainly the aggression and the running stats that I expect from us.
Keeping it simple is often the best way. You've got a few issues, and so how's your midfield looking at the moment? Because maybe do you think you've got enough personnel to play the way that you want to play all the time?
Yeah, I think we've got 9 midfield players. So we've obviously got Reedy that at the moment is sitting at the bottom of it. Josh Knight could play there. We've got Madison as a 10. Serhat could play there. Boyd could play there. Dembele. We've got plenty. If you look at the sides, we've got obviously Boyd and Knight, Ward, Burrows, Woodyard. So I think we're very similar, or pretty much the same as most teams in the league. It's really going to be important for us to keep our key players fit, and George Boyd was injured for 3 games. He's a very, very big player for us. There's no getting away from that. So I think it's important that we keep our key players fit, and I guess every team in the league at League One level would be saying the same.
How is the treatment table this week ahead of the game against Wimbledon?
Well, it's good news. Obviously, Nathan Thompson picked up an injury, a really freak one. His foot just gave way at Doncaster. He'll be missing. Boyd and Blake Tracy will be back. So it's 1 out, 2 in. So we've got an extra number. And I think that's it.
If you have a game like you did at Doncaster, on the face of it, a game against the side that hasn't won this season isn't the worst place to try and put things right. Doesn't always work like that though, does it?
No, we get the same performance against Doncaster, we get beat. There's no getting away from that. We'll get beat. Doesn't matter who you're playing against. We need to just make sure that we get back to a standard that I expect, that we have been shown on a consistent basis. Hopefully get back to being a lot more solid as a unit. There was far too many things that went wrong on Saturday. And to a degree against Tranmere. There's certain things in that game as well that I wasn't happy with. So I think the players are aware of that, and we've just got to make sure we get a result on Saturday, get a win, and hopefully get back on another run.
It's not been the best of weeks for Wimbledon on top of their start to the season, losing their manager to suspension. How badly does that affect the squad?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them, and it really is all about us on Saturday.
And rightly so, because you've got a long season ahead of you, you've got a really decent squad assembled, and your destiny is in your own hands. Yeah,
I think we've got a good squad, good balance. Just as I said at the start of the season, 2 results that we lost in the first 2 games wasn't going to change my opinion. And Saturday's performance and result isn't going to change my opinion. In saying that, players do have to step up when they get the opportunity to be very good on a consistent basis to stay in this team, and that's the sort of competition I want.
Let's just sum up, Darren. What do you want to see on Saturday in terms of your side, your performance, and hopefully your supporters as well?
Just a win. When you have a performance like we did, an unusual one, then we have to put it to bed immediately and get a win and then start again.
One blip, back on the horse, and start the run all over again.
Let's hope so. Fingers crossed.
Darren, thank you. Best of luck.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. Thank you.